A girl who gives up everything for love and runs away with her boyfriend would never imagine that she is about to become a tool for him to escape poverty. The girl's name is Abby, and she lost her parents at a young age, living a drifting life ever since, surviving each day by scavenging trash and doing odd jobs. On this day, her boyfriend Bill, who shared the same desperate background, was verbally abused without reason by a harsh supervisor while working at a boiler factory. Bill fought back in anger, but accidentally killed the supervisor. As a result, Bill took his dependent younger sister and Abby, and the three of them boarded a train bound for Texas. Because it was the autumn harvest season, many farms in the West were recruiting large numbers of temporary workers. As soon as the train arrived, a steward holding a loudspeaker was already waiting for the workers. A daily wage of $3, along with the generous benefit of allowing workers to bring their families, filled Bill with excitement. Before long, trucks packed with workers drove through endless wheat fields and stopped in front of a grand countryside mansion. The farm owner was a handsome young man who managed the entire farm by himself with the help of the steward. Looking at the fertile land and vast fields of wheat, Bill could not help but sigh that this place was like paradise on earth. Early the next morning, hundreds of workers began laboring in the fields at the same time. To avoid trouble, Bill told everyone that Abby was also his sister. Abby worked just as hard as the men, her slender body hiding remarkable strength. Among the rough men and women, the young, beautiful, and capable Abby immediately caught the farm owner's attention. Harvesting was extremely exhausting work, yet the farm owner was very generous and provided plentiful meals every day. At lunchtime, the workers joked crudely about Abby, hot-tempered and aggressive by nature. Bill lost his patience and threw food at the man. If the steward had not stepped in to stop it in time, Bill might have been forced back onto the road of escape once again. That afternoon, the farm owner could not help asking about Abby's background. Although Abby continued working diligently, the steward saw through the farm owner's intentions, and instead of helping, he deliberately made things difficult for Abby, trying to dock her wages. The next day, a distracted Abby accidentally cut her palm while threshing wheat. When the farm owner's personal doctor came to examine her, Bill secretly climbed onto the doctor's carriage to steal some anti-inflammatory medicine, but instead overheard a shocking secret. It turned out that the farm owner was suffering from a serious illness, and the doctor told him that he did not have much time left. The doctor advised him to stay in good spirits, as it might allow him to live a little longer. Bill, who had long been tired of wandering and enduring constant humiliation, suddenly came up with a plan. That afternoon, the farm owner, who had waited a long time without getting a response, stopped Abby while the workers were resting.
Excuse me, I forgot where I was.
Don't worry. Where are you from?
Chicago.
Wait a minute. Where do you go from here?
All over. Wyoming. You think I like it?
As the autumn harvest neared its end and the weather grew increasingly unpredictable, some of the workers began moving on to new places. For people at the bottom of society, their footsteps never dare to stop, as they must struggle to survive all year round. But the farm owner only needed to lie there while the steward calculated the incoming grain and told him that this year's profits had easily reached 8 figures. Money had already become insignificant in the little time the farm owner had left. Yet that hard-working girl deeply stirred his heart. The farm owner wanted Abby to stay. He said that after the harvest there would not be much work on the farm, but he would continue paying her the same wages, so Abby would no longer have to drift from place to place. It was an extremely tempting offer, but when Abby thought of Bill, she did not immediately agree. When she told Bill about it, his heart filled with joy. He persuaded Abby to stay, saying that life here was a kind of ease they had never experienced before. He no longer wanted to scrape by everywhere, as he was tired of poverty and having no place to call home. Looking at the brightly lit main house, Bill seemed to feel that before long, he would become the owner of this place. Abby made her only request to the farm owner, asking that her family be allowed to stay as well. Unexpectedly, the farm owner agreed without hesitation. After the last group of workers left, the days that followed became the happiest time in Bill and Abby's lives. On this quiet and vast land, they laughed and played freely, never worrying about food or clothing, needing only to do some simple household chores each day. The lonely farm owner also blended in with them, and he had no doubts at all about Bill and Abby being siblings. Abby grew more and more relaxed around the farm owner, and even when she danced clumsily, he still liked her very much. He did not hide his feelings and expressed his love for Abby in a simple and direct way. When Bill learned that the farm owner had confessed his feelings to his girlfriend, he was not angry at all. but instead encouraged Abby to get closer to him and even told her about the farm owner's illness. Bill guided Abby to cater to the farm owner, saying this was a chance to change their lives forever. Even when Abby argued that she did not love him, Bill still insisted that she pretend. As winter passed and spring arrived, on a bright sunny day, the farm owner and Abby held their wedding. Looking at the deep affection on the farm owner's face, Abby felt a mix of emotions. The farm owner was gentle, refined, and emotionally steady, making Abby feel as if she were living in a dream. If Bill had not existed in her life, perhaps she truly would have spent a happy lifetime with the farm owner. Just after Bill personally helped his girlfriend onto the carriage for her honeymoon, he secretly slipped into the farm owner's bedroom. Looking at the luxurious furnishings inside, he felt no sense of loss at all from giving up his girlfriend, but instead imagined what it would be like when he finally owned everything here. He patiently waited for that day to come. Abby transformed from a poor laborer into a respected lady of high society. Under the farm owner's guidance, she saw a world she had never known before, and standing together, they looked perfectly matched. After returning from the honeymoon, Abby appeared to be in very good spirits, but deep in Bill's heart, there was a faint, lingering pain. He had assumed that in this marriage of convenience, Abby would be miserable every day, yet the smile on the woman he loved made Bill feel as if he had lost something he could never get back. At night, Bill sneaked into Abby's bridal room and woke the sleeping Abby. They crossed the open fields and arrived at a deserted lakeside. Bill told Abby that if she fell in love with the farm owner, he would completely lose his mind. That night, they stayed by the lake until dawn. It was not until early morning, when they heard the farm owner calling out, that they returned to the room. Abby lied and said she simply could not sleep and had gone out for a walk, brushing it off. What no one expected was that, nourished by love, the farm owner actually lived an entire year longer than the doctor had predicted. Not only did he not die, his mental state became even better. Because of this, Bill grew increasingly anxious day after day. As time passed, Abby developed a sense of dependence on the farm owner, and something resembling love slowly began to grow in her heart. The steward had always been suspicious of the relationship between Bill and Abby, and he openly shared his doubts with the farm owner. Unexpectedly, the farm owner believed the steward was overthinking things, and he trusted his wife completely. To prevent the steward from damaging his marriage, the farm owner transferred him to a farm 100 miles away. Before leaving, the steward issued a harsh warning to Bill.
I know what you're doing. That boy's like a son to me.
Once the steward was gone, Bill lost his only threat. He did not want to wait a single moment longer, and in order to move into the main house as soon as possible, Bill accelerated his plan. When he went hunting with the farm owner, he planned to attack from behind and stage an accident to eliminate him. But at the critical moment, the farm owner suddenly turned around. Seeing Bill fire a shot behind his back made the farm owner instantly suspicious. Knowing that haste would only ruin things, and that impatience would lead to failure, Bill had no choice but to leave for a while to avoid danger. After Bill left, the farm owner spent their third year together with Abby by his side. They looked just like an old married couple, and the farm owner's love for her had not diminished in the slightest. He also treated Bill's sister as if she were his own family. The land of the farm continued its cycle of spring planting and autumn harvest as always. Just like that, 2 years passed. When the train carrying workers once again arrived on this land, Bill returned as well, riding a motorcycle and covered in dust, dancing gracefully to the music. Abby seemed like a completely different person. The farm owner watched Bill through the sheer curtains, his expression heavy and tense. After settling in, Abby pretended to carry a bucket of water and went to Bill's place to see him. At this moment, there was a sense of distance between them, but from that day on, Bill came to see Abby every single day. All of this was clearly seen by the farm owner. He could not help recalling the steward's warning, and when he connected it with Bill firing a shot behind him, the anger of betrayal lingered in his heart. On the third day after Bill's return, countless small insects mysteriously appeared on the farm. In the kitchen and in the rooms, locust larvae crawled everywhere. Within 24 hours, the locusts spread into the wheat fields that were about to be harvested. The workers drove them away all day long, yet their numbers only kept increasing. It was not until late at night that the workers lit fires and burned the captured locusts bucket by bucket. Already furious, the farm owner believed that this disaster was entirely caused by Bill's return. The moment he saw Bill, his anger grew even stronger. Two men driven by love turned to hatred and immediately began fighting. In the chaos, the farm owner accidentally ignited the wheat field with the fire in his hand. In an instant, the dry fields erupted into raging flames, whipped wildly by the strong wind. After returning home, the farm owner demanded to know whether Abby had deceived him. From the flicker in Abby's eyes, he found his answer. He then took a weapon from a drawer, mounted his horse, and rushed to find Bill, who was repairing a vehicle. The weakened farm owner was no match for Bill, and after just one exchange, he was knocked heavily to the ground. Bill drove a dagger into the farm owner's chest. If Bill had reached out to help at that moment, the farm owner might still have had a chance to survive. But Bill did not do that. He abandoned the farm owner and fled the scene. By the time the steward discovered him, the farm owner had already stopped breathing. Elsewhere, Bill looted the farm's valuables, drove away in the farm owner's car, and fled to the docks. They once again embarked on the road of escape. While the steward offered a large reward to hunt Bill down, Bill led Abby and his sister along waterways and mountain paths, never daring to take the main roads. They planned to cross the border through the northwest. Abby lived each day burdened by overwhelming guilt and self-blame. No matter how beautiful the scenery along the escape route was, they had no heart to appreciate it. When they were tired, they rested in primitive forests, and when they were hungry, Bill hunted wild animals to survive. During one hunting trip, Bill discovered bounty hunters tracking them. At the same time, the hunters also spotted him. Bill rushed back to the shelter and told Abby and his sister to flee toward the northwest, while he took his weapon and ran toward the bounty hunters to draw them away and protect them. Under overwhelming pursuit, Bill was shot and fell into the river. Half a year later, Abby did not want Bill's sister to repeat their tragic path. She entrusted the young girl to a childless family, leaving her there to be raised and begin a different life. As for Abby, she once again set foot on a life of wandering and displacement.